Imagine Strasbourg, 1518, a sweltering summer day. Suddenly, a woman named Frau Trophäa steps into the street and begins to dance. Not a joyful dance, but a wild, desperate, unending performance. Her body moved with a life of its own, limbs flailing, feet stamping erratically on the cobblestones. Her face was a mask of agony, yet she couldn't stop. She danced for days. This wasn't a choice. It felt like a compulsion. And it was contagious. Within a week, dozens more in Strasbourg were caught in the same inexplicable frenzy. They joined Frau Trophäa, their movements mirroring hers in their intensity and desperation. Soon, hundreds filled the streets, a bizarre, involuntary ballet. They twisted, they spun, they leapt, their bodies writhing as if controlled by unseen strings. They danced until exhaustion threatened to consume them, yet the urge to continue was overwhelming. It was a terrifying spectacle, a city gripped by an unstoppable urge to move. This wasn't the first time whispers of dancing manias had surfaced across Europe, but Strasbourg's event was the most intense, a chilling chapter in history that still makes us shiver. The dancers weren't celebrating, they were suffering. Their faces were contorted in pain, their eyes wide with a mixture of terror and exhaustion. They danced through the blistering heat, their bodies ravaged, their muscles screaming in protest. They stamped their feet until they bled, their clothes tore, and their skin blistered. It was a public display of agony, a city watching its own people perform a relentless, agonizing dance they couldn't escape. The authorities were baffled. Doctors offered theories ranging from bad air to demonic possession. The prevailing diagnosis? A hot fever that needed to be danced out. And so, the city leaders made a decision that sounds utterly insane today. They decided to help them dance. They built a wooden stage in the marketplace, complete with an altar to Saint Vitus, the patron saint against dancing fits. Musicians were hired to provide a continuous, driving rhythm, and food and drink were offered. The idea was to let the afflicted dance themselves clean. Imagine it, a city sanctioning and encouraging this agonizing spectacle, turning a public breakdown into a macabre, sanctioned event. It was a desperate attempt to control the uncontrollable, which, predictably, only seemed to fuel the terrifying compulsion. So, what was behind this terrifying dance? One of the most compelling theories points to something hidden in their daily bread: ergot. This fungus, Claviceps purpurea, thrives on rye, a staple grain in Strasbourg. Consuming bread made from contaminated rye could lead to ergotism, a condition with a range of horrifying symptoms. These symptoms are chillingly similar to the DancePlague: terrifying hallucinations, violent muscle spasms, uncontrollable convulsions, and a severe loss of voluntary motor control. It's easy to see why scientists favor this explanation. The ergot alkaloids act on the nervous system, potentially inducing a state where the body's movements are no longer under conscious command. The wild, spasmodic nature of their thrashing and stamping strongly suggests neurological interference. Think about it. Damp rye fields, fungal growth, and desperate people eating whatever grain was available. The ergot could have induced a state where the dancers felt compelled to move, their bodies writhing and jerking in a terrifying, involuntary performance. It offers a tangible biological reason for the madness. However, it doesn't fully explain the sheer duration and the seemingly coordinated nature of the dancing. Why did so many dance for days, and why did it spread like an epidemic if it was just poisoning? It's a strong suspect, but perhaps not the whole story. If ergot poisoning isn't the complete answer, what else could be at play? Many experts believe the key lies in the power of the mind, amplified by extreme societal pressure. Enter mass hysteria, or mass psychogenic illness. Strasbourg in 1518 was a powder keg of stress. Years of famine had left people starving. Disease was rampant, and the constant threat of war and religious persecution hung heavy. In such desperate times, the collective psyche becomes incredibly fragile. Imagine living with constant fear and hunger. The mind, desperate for an outlet, can manifest these anxieties physically. Witnessing one person dance uncontrollably, with wild gestures and frantic stomping, could trigger a similar response in others, especially in a highly suggestible and stressed population. It's like a psychological contagion, where fear and panic manifest as physical symptoms. This wasn't just random movement. It was a shared, compulsive action, as if an invisible puppeteer pulled their strings. Adding to this was the deeply religious nature of the time. People genuinely believed in divine punishment and demonic possession. So, when the dancing started, it was seen through a spiritual lens, fueling the frenzy and making people susceptible to extreme psychological states that then took physical form. The authorities' misguided cure, encouraging the dance with stages and music, turned a horrifying event into a prolonged tragedy. The dancers continued their relentless, agonizing performance, pushing themselves to their breaking points. They succumbed to exhaustion, heart failure, and strokes, their bodies finally giving out after days of ceaseless movement. It was a grim spectacle, a city watching its citizens dance themselves to death. Finally, the city leadership reversed course, banning music and dancing. As suddenly as it began, the plague subsided. The compulsive dancers stopped, leaving behind a traumatized city and a profound historical mystery. What truly caused the dance plague of 1518? Was it tainted rye, a collective psychological breakdown fueled by societal stress, a spiritual crisis, or a terrifying mix of all these factors? The exact answer remains elusive, lost to time. But the story of the dance plague serves as a powerful, haunting reminder. It highlights the complex, often fragile connection between our minds, our bodies, and the societies we live in. It shows how extreme stress, fear, and belief can manifest in the most unexpected and devastating ways. The dancers of Strasbourg may be gone, but their story continues to echo, a chilling testament to a moment when the urge to dance became an unstoppable force of destruction. Want more answers to questions you never thought to ask? Subscribe now and drop a like if you enjoyed this.